E. Is there any reason why you hold your hands in front of you and near your collar like that, just out of habit?
I assume you mean this. It's just another nervous habit of mine. There's something reassuring about covering myself up.
Pretty sure there is some, psychology research or something about, covering your chest area and, insecurity. It's whenever you're blocking, your that area of your body, it's, protecting your inner organs and all that stuff, because, that's, the vulnerable area. Digital Reddit. Would you be interested in Tom Clancy?
No, I don't think Clancy's work would interest me. While his books are described as thrillers, they're mostly delve into military espionage. It doesn't quite capture my imagination.
One country you would like to travel to?
If I could travel anywhere, I'd like to visit Britain. Since they take their tea so seriously, I think it would be fun to see their culture.
Cats or dogs?
I like both, but I prefer cats since they're more reserved. Dogs can be a bit too excitable.
Also, do you like dead mouse? You have to read the 5 in this.
I haven't heard of them, but I'll check it out for later.
Rakanyusum. Hey Gary, it's me, Rakanyusum. I hope I didn't make you wait too much for my question. I have most of the same personality traits that you have, like the shyness, overthinking the stuff I do, and the difficulty for making friends, so it took me a lot of time and shame to formulate my question for you.
Oh, hello, Rakanyusum. I've been expecting you. It's good to finally see your comment. It's okay. I know how hard it can be to approach someone. You shouldn't be ashamed to ask me questions. That's what this is all about. Try not to worry so much, although I suppose that's funny advice coming from me.
Monica showed us on Reddit most about her club members, and I instantly loved you for who you are and how intelligent and passionate you are for the things you like. And I hope we can be friends in the near future.
Well, thank you for the compliment. I'd be happy to be friends, though I'm unsure of what Monica showed you. I guess it must have been good for you to favor me so.
I'm making a fanfiction story which involves the club and other gaming franchise I like. In reality is a mod. Ask Monica what a mod is. And you are the protagonist of it, but I want to ask you 3 questions for continuing the writing of it.
A mod? I already know what those are. Natsuki told me about the sub's interactive fanfictions, though I can't imagine what kind of story could feature me. Anyway, I'd love to offer you some writing tips.
1. Do you have some advice for writing psychological horror successfully in an story?
When writing psychological horror, subtlety is important. You need to create a sense of unease in the reader. To give an example, stagnating arrows come in foreshadowing that something terrible is about to happen. While I don't necessarily recommend that specifically, it's the kind of effect you should go for. Through word choice and description, you should try to convey that things don't seem normal. This makes the reader uncomfortable and creates apprehension. At this point, what the reader thinks they're afraid of is more important than what's actually happening, whether they guess it correctly or not.
2. What is your opinion about Sonic the Hedgehog, the sweetie and spicky blue hedgehog? You basically are his antagonist in my story.
I think Sonic is alright. His world is a little cutesy for my tastes. So, I'm confused. If I'm your story's protagonist, but act as Sonic's antagonist, does that mean he's your villain? Also, I can't imagine under what circumstances he and I would be adults, but I'm sure you have a reason within the story.
3. What was your inspiration for the poem you recited in front of the girls before the festival? And what was that poem about? We never had the opportunity to read it. Monica didn't share it, and I really wanted to know what it said.
Do you mean After Image of a Crimson Eye? I read it for the festival as well. I hoped a repeat performance would not be much trouble. But that didn't work out. The poem is inspired by Portrait of Markov. It's about the suffering the protagonist feels. It illustrates the tolls of her physical and psychological torture as she falls into madness and despair. It's, very dark.
Thanks, Yuri, for replying. It's an honor meeting you, and I hope that both the people is not making you feel uncomfortable, and neither my questions. It took me a full day to think on them.
Thank you for your questions. I'm glad you found the courage to share them. Quite a few so far have made me uncomfortable, but no worries, yours were fine. Good luck with your project. I hope it goes well.
Plague Doctor. Hi, Yuri. Hope you have been having at least a little fun with this AMA so far. I've ended up thinking of way more questions than I thought I would have. Hopefully it's not too overwhelming for you. So, an increasing order of invasiveness.
Increasing invasiveness?
1. Innocent tea question. I'm sure you've gotten a few questions about your favorite tea, but how does it change depending on the occasion? Say, a hot midsummer day with friends versus lazy autumn evening with a book.
Well, my tea preferences don't change so much with the season. It's more what I'm in the mood for day to day. I'll prepare specific types for certain meals, but it's mostly spur of the moment.
2. Obligatory knife question. Are there any unique kinds of knives that are missing from your collection which you'd particularly like to receive as a gift? Damascus steel, for example, or maybe knapped obsidian? Or on an entirely unrelated note, when is your birthday?
While I collect knives from local makers and often order online, I'm sure there are many kinds unavailable to me. Any purchase you make around where you live would likely be a new addition. But you needn't hurry. My 19th is half a year away.
3. Isekai question. If you could be transported into any fictional universe, which one would you pick? And would you take any of the club members with you?
As before, it would be fun to live in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. I'd love to bring my friends with me too. Oh, but we'd probably all be sorted into different houses. I could see myself in Ravenclaw, Natsuki in Gryffindor, Sayori in Hufflepuff, and Monica in Slytherin.
It's like practically canon. 4. Writing style question. Would you ever attempt to write in someone else's style? Not that I don't enjoy your writing, it's rather beautiful, and you should be very proud of it. But just as an exercise in stepping out of your comfort zone.
Well, I do prefer my own writing style, and I've put a lot of work into it. It's funny you should bring this up. I've been trying to do that recently. Ever since my argument with Natsuki, I felt bad for dismissing her views so frivolously. And I'm trying to write a poem more in line with her ideals. It hasn't been easy, not because it's difficult to write, but because I haven't been satisfied with my results. I hope I can do it by the end of the week.
You can see that poem in Take 2. 5. Memory question. On a similar note, do you have any memory of writing a poem called Wheel? I wanted to express my admiration for its unique style and the increasingly wonderfully unhinged imagery, but it'd seem pretty weird if you don't recall its existence.
I have no recollection of. Wait, you said it's called Wheel? How strange. I know I've written nothing of the sort. But that title seems oddly familiar somehow.
6. Nature of the universe question. Have you heard very much about the simulation hypothesis, and if so, what do you think about it?
Simulation hypothesis? Are you talking about all the reality questions Natsuki was getting? Because their volume lends them no credence, they remain as preposterous as they ever were.
7. Obligatory shipping question. If you absolutely had to choose one of the other girls in the club to be in a relationship with, then assuming they were guaranteed to return your feelings, who would it be?
Oh, you're insisting I choose one of the girls. I might have said Monica before, but I'm not so sure now. And I couldn't bear to split up Sayori and MC, so that leaves Tiffany, who I only just met, and Natsuki. Oh, I feel as though there's an obvious answer to this that many are aching to hear. But don't think I'm saying this just to avoid fueling the fire. Tiff really does seem like a good person. This is indeed getting rather invasive.
8. Kink question. What do you think about people who practice consensual knife play? And is it something you would ever consider?
A knife kink? Ooh, that doesn't seem very safe. Like sadomasochism with serious risk. I don't think I'd be comfortable trying that alone. Oh, right, but most invasive question.
9. Potentially reality-breaking question. Finally, what do you see when you click on this link?
Potentially reality-breaking. This link, ddlc.moe. Error 404, page not found.
That's pretty much all that I could think of. Thanks for answering these, and please, just look after yourself, okay? Maybe relax with some white tea after the AMA. I'm guessing you'll probably need it.
Well, thank you for your questions. Don't worry about me, I'm always cautious, so I'll be alright. But I think I will need some tea when this is over.
Let's see, Bridge Cobbler. What do you like to do in your spare time besides reading?
Besides reading, not much really. Of course I write poetry, I watch TV on occasion, usually after school. I go shopping for new books and knives on most weekends. And I like to go on nature walks, not at any particular time, just whenever I feel like it. Oh, there's a board game group I meet up with regularly, so I guess that counts.
That's a factoid from the side stories.
I would have mentioned it earlier, but anyway, if I'm not in the mood for something in particular, I put on some relaxing music. With the right atmosphere, I typically find my way back to books regardless. I know, I'm dull.
Thomas Demensor. What do you think of Stephen King and his novels?
Well, I mentioned them earlier, so I do think something of them. They're lighter horror novels for me. They don't get quite as deep or serious as I'd like. But they're less involved for that reason, so they can be easier to pick up sometimes.
McCoyim. So, and this time I have a few questions. Don't worry, Yuri, you can do this. 1. Have you read the series of books The Witcher? If yes, what book did you like more?
I have read that series. I'm surprised you know about the books. Most people are only familiar with the video game adaptations. While somewhat vanilla with this fantasy setting, it handles its lore well enough to be immersive. Geralt's saga with Ciri is the one I like best. The connection added real gravity to the tale.
2. Have you read any Stalker or Metro 2033 novels?
I haven't heard of either of these. I'll have to track them down.
3. My brother's birthday soon, and I can't think what to give him. He is not a big reader, but he really likes knives. He even wants to make one by his own hands. Can you advise something?
Well, if your brother is old enough to handle knives, it sounds like you already have a gift idea. Does he have his own collection? Perhaps you could ask to see it. If you're not sure where to get knives from, ordering online may be easier. I'm sure he could find something to his liking.
4. What do you think about new club members?
My opinions of the new members I shared before, but I will say they're more interesting than I expected. It was an unsettling prospect at first. I didn't like the idea of things changing too much, but I'm hopeful for how the rest of this school year will go.
Have a nice day.
I'll try.
EG86. If you're traveling at the speed of light and you turn your headlights on, what happens?
Oh, you're the person that likes to ask nonsensical questions. But compared to the ones you asked Sayori and Natsuki, this one almost sounds reasonable. So if you were traveling at light speed and turned on a light, you might think the new light would be traveling twice as fast, but that isn't how light works. These are particles of energy, not physical objects. The speed of the lamp would not impact the speed of the energy being generated, so the new light would provide no illumination as you're moving at the same speed it is. I think that's my educated guess. I could be entirely wrong.
And none of this, if you're moving, you can't move the speed of light. It's physically impossible. No. The premise of the question was, you're moving at the speed of light. Anyway, X-Chicken rules. What do you know about the third eye, a girl named Libitina, a girl named Alyssa, or someone named Renier? Do these traits sound familiar? Twitching, vocal tics, biting, epiphora, vomiting, screaming, harm to examiner, harm to self, misplaced laughter.
Well, I've heard a few of these names so far already, but I'm afraid I know nothing more than anyone else at this point. Project Libitina is but a mystery to look forward to.
Where were you in 2004?
I turned 5 years old in 2004. I've never lived outside this area, so I was with my family in our present home. If you think I'm at all involved with this, I'm afraid you're simply mistaken.
Also, do you recognize this image? If so, from where? And then a little Google link.
Oh, this is just the same image as before. A peculiar white-haired woman with no eyes. She could be Libitina, but no one is certain.
Are your boobs natural?
Oh, yes, my boobs are natural. They already pain me enough. Why would I make them bigger? If anything, I've considered having them reduced. I wonder if my fans would be upset.
Why do you cut?
Oh, is it finally time to confront this?
Mopish Cobra 6. I'm not sure if this would count as invasive, but was there actually any self-harming incidents before we went yonder way? Or was it just a small obsession with knives? And Hand 7. Weren't you worried your friends would find out about your cutting showing them the raccoon? Have you ever considered drugs/alcohol as an alternative to knives? Would you recommend cutting yourself as a way to relieve emotion? And if no, why do you do it?
Very well, I'll explain. When Natsuki told me the sub-new explicit details about her personal life, I had a feeling this might come up. Though I sincerely hoped it wouldn't. Thankfully, I had the chance to mentally prepare, so perhaps this won't be so difficult. First, if there was any doubt, yes, I have a self-harm problem. I've always had a fascination with knives, but it wasn't an issue until shortly after I joined the club. It had not been quite what I expected. I made a fool of myself there and went home feeling extremely anxious. I was arranging my collection to unwind when one slipped from my grasp and grazed my arm. It was a huge shock at first, but something about it was oddly scintillating. The adrenaline rush, the sight of the blood, and the surprisingly mild pain. At times when I was stressed, I would remember that feeling. It simultaneously haunted and tantalized me. Eventually, the temptation was too great. I tried to recreate it. It was better than I remembered. An accident was one thing, but inflicting it myself. I gave a strange sense of euphoria and release, feeling the danger yet also controlling it. I felt powerful, a rare sense for someone like me. And now I find myself with an unfortunate addiction. So to answer your questions in regard to this matter, I don't know what you mean about going yandere, but yes, the problem has existed for some time. I am still feeding the raccoon. I wasn't especially concerned that my friends would deduce my trouble from the poem, though perhaps part of me was secretly hoping they would. It's not something I especially like about myself. Maybe it was a subconscious cry for help. I suspect some of them may have already known. If Monica didn't, she sure found out on Monday. I never considered any substitutes for cutting. It does reduce my anxiety, but there's more to it than that. I would not recommend cutting as any form of stress relief. It's unhealthy, even done sparingly.
Blue Blur R3237. Yuri, thanks for doing an AMA for us at Reddit. Oh wait, no. This was a question he asked earlier. How do you keep from getting blood staining your sleeves? Asking for a friend. You seem to have that under control all the time, despite the stories.
Oh yes, from earlier. Well, for starters, I try to make my cuts clean and shallow, straight, even slits. This is so the skin can reconnect more easily and to keep bleeding to a minimum. I use a roll of gauze to gently wrap the wounds back up. For such small injuries, they don't seep out much. Was that all then? We have it covered. Phew. You know, I was deeply fearful of this moment, when I would finally be outed for this behavior. It's been my secret shame for the longest time. But knowing it's been discovered, and that thousands of people are now aware, it's actually kind of a relief. Seeing all these fans being so supportive, and knowing you all still care about me regardless. It's incredible. I was certain I'd be shunned, treated like some sick freak. Instead, I've never felt so accepted in my entire life. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Siora was right. This really wasn't so bad.
Aww.